Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball, the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on December 14th, 2019. If you'd like to get my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe. Okay, so the object of my game is for you to correctly eliminate groups of numbers. There are 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. So for me, I think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. So to help me do that, I'm going to turn to the 5 strategies of my game. So strategies 1 and 2, the game card color code, and the 50-50 picks. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to show you on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize of the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 24, 29, 42, 44, and 63. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And now I'm going to find out what colors they were. Okay, so the 24 was purple, the 29 was blue, the 42 was red, the 44 was red, and the 63 was red. So I'm going to color these in. So again, the 24 was purple, the 29 was blue, and the 42, 44, and 63 were all red. So now I'm going to count how many colors I got. I got 3 red, 1 blue, 1 purple for 3 colors total. Okay, so up here I'm going to make this 396 color code drawings I kept track of so far. And now a 3 color combination has now come up 208 times. Okay, so if you divide 208 into 396, you're going to see that a 3 color combination comes up more than half the time. Okay, and to me that's huge because long term, if I just keep on picking a 3 color combination, I know statistically I'm going to be correct more than half the time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a new game card. So I'm going to get rid of all these colors and start from scratch. So my color code is right here. Here's the red numbers, the orange, the green, the blue, and whatever's left over is purple. So what I did is I took the 69 white ball numbers, I divided it by 5 colors, and that's 1 color for each of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, and that equals 13.8. So my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers per color as possible, or a good representation of each color. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the red numbers. Now the red numbers are the last 3 drawings of numbers, and the reason why this is because this will give me a maximum of 15 numbers. Okay, so again, I'm going to start in with the 24, the 29, the 42, 44, and 63. The next line down is the 18, the 42 is already taken, so the 53, 62 and 66, and the last line is the 8, 27, 44, which is already taken, 51 and 61. So again, I'm going to make these red, and now I'm going to count how many I have. So over here I got 3 and 4 are 7, 3 are 10, and 3 are 13. So up here I'm going to make this 13. So up here it tells me of how many of each color I have on the game card. Okay, so moving on to the orange area here, I'm going to start with the 15, the 35, the 42, which is already taken, the 63 is taken, so the 68, then the 15 again is taken, the 26, the 37, 53 is already taken, so 55, the next line down is the 28, 35 is already taken, so 38, 61 is taken, 66 is taken, so the next line down is the 7, 15 is taken, so 39, 40, and 57. So again, I'm going to make these orange. And now I'm going to count how many I have. So over here I got 2, and 2 are 4. 4 is 8, 1 is 9, 1 is 10, and 2 are 12. So again, up here I'm going to make this 12. So I think you get the idea of how I came up with the colors for my game card. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll to the right just to speed things up. And this is what the game card looks like for December 14th, 2019. Again, you can see there was 13 red numbers, 12 orange, turned out to be 14 green, 19 blue, and 11 purple numbers. Okay, so again, more than half the time, a 3-color combination comes up. So that means more than half the time, 2 colors are not coming up, and that's what I want to focus on here. So again, the object of the game is to eliminate groups of numbers. So the strategy here is to correctly guess what color group will not be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a prediction on what color group will not be coming up, and to help me make a decision, I'm going to turn to the next strategy called the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks. So again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. So I like to keep track of this and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing. Okay, so I kind of use this 50-50 picks as kind of like a roadmap to what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to update this. The first thing I'm going to do is make this 437 drawings I kept track of so far. And basically this goes back to October 15th, October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card to find out what numbers came up. So I got an even, odd, even, even, odd. So 3 even numbers, 2 odds. So I had 2 odds, 3 evens. So the majority was even, so I'm going to make this 208. Okay, so out of 437 drawings, 229 drawings have come up the majority of odd numbers. 208 have come up the majority of even numbers. Okay, so what I do here is, again, I like to break things down into 5 so it shows me that majority. So out of this 5 drawings here, you can see the majority was odd numbers, 4 drawings to 1. Okay, so as I go back into the history of things, you can see that the odds have been coming up a lot recently. Okay, so I'm going to predict that this next drawing is going to have more even numbers than odd numbers to it. Okay, so I'm just going to write that down to remind myself what I picked. So again, I think more even numbers than odds will be coming up. Okay, so moving on to the 50-50 picks here. The next one is high and low. So all the numbers in red are considered high, all the ones in blue are considered low. So looking at this, you can see in the last 7 drawings, the majority has been to the high side. Okay, so how I like to explain this is, you know, try to flip a quarter and see how often it takes for it to come up heads 7 times in a row. Okay, it's pretty hard. Okay, I mean, it does go on streaks if you flip the coin long enough. Okay, but here at 7 drawings in a row, I'm gonna start thinking that it's gonna start going to the low side here pretty soon. Okay, so I'm gonna pick more numbers to this low area than the high, so I'm gonna write that down as well. Okay, so the next one I have is left and right. And here, I decided to go with the left side. So, you know, the thing about my game is that we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, so we're all going to come up with a different result. But here, as you can see, with this right side, especially down here, he had a couple of runs. Okay, run a 4, a longer one down here, run a 5, and then up here I had a run of 4 as well. So I don't think it's going to have a run of 3. Okay, I think it's going to just go 2, and I think the majority will jump over to the left side here. So I'm going to write that down as well. And again, we're all going to look at this differently. Okay, so one last thing that I have here in the 50-50 picks is this red and blue area. Now you can see that the red is really far in front, 239 to 198. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to predict that there's going to be more numbers in this blue area than the red. Okay, so I'm going to write that down as well. Okay, so that's kind of like my roadmap of what I'm going to stick to when I start to eliminate numbers. Okay, so now I'm going to make that prediction on what color group I don't think is going to come up. And I'm going to go with no orange numbers. Okay, so again, I think more numbers are going to be here in this blue side. And you can see that orange represents 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And over here it represents 1, 2, and 4 is 6, and 1 is 7. Okay, so there's more orange numbers in this red area, and plus an orange number before this last drawing here has come up 9 times in a row. So I'm going to predict that it's going to miss a couple times in a row. Okay, so again, my prediction is that no orange numbers are going to come up, so I'm going to block these numbers out. So when I block out numbers like this, this means that I'm not even going to consider these numbers when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these orange numbers will come up in the next drawing. So if I'm correct with my bet and none of these orange numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm moving on to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. So basically what I did here is I divided the numbers into 7 different groups. Okay, so here's group number 1 that holds the numbers of 1 through 9. Of course, this is the only group with 9 numbers, where the other 6 have 10 numbers to it, for 69 numbers. All right, so over here are the winning numbers that just came up: 24, 29, 42, 44, 63. So you can see that it hit 3 out of the 7 groups. So 4 of these groups did not come up in the last drawing. Okay, so here's the 24. So I'm going to follow this plane until I find the 24, and here it is purple. Okay, so I'm coloring this square purple because the 24 is purple. Okay, and again, the 24 is purple because the color code said it was purple. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. So I'm going to reduce it down to 33% here. As soon as my computer lets me. Okay, there it is. Okay, so here's the whole card. Okay, so how you read this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, and now the reason why I like to break it down into 5 is because it usually shows me that majority. Okay, but here it's a little bit different. All right. So the reason why I like to break it down into 5 here is because when I count back into the history, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on. Okay, but my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, there's 7 groups here, and there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So I know that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what group will not have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this differently, but for me, I decided to go with no 60 numbers. Okay, so you can see in the last 5, 10, 15 drawings, it's been really, really hot through the 60s, so I'm going to predict that it's going to cool down a little bit. Okay, another reason why I'm picking it is because there's already 3 hits in this 60 drawings here. Okay, so again, I'm going to pump this back up. I'm going to go to the game card, and I'm going to eliminate the 60 numbers off of my game card. Okay, so the 66 is right here, the 67, the 65, the 69, there's the 60, and the 61, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll get rid of all these 60 numbers, and hopefully they do not come up, okay? Because I just got rid of them. So the theory is, if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then one of these highlighted numbers still here on my game card have to come up, okay? So we'll see what happens, and I'm moving on to the next strategy. And the next strategy is strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope I'll miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers, okay? So basically what I did is I divided all the numbers into 4 different color groups, okay? So when the 5 white winning Powerball numbers come up, I record where they land within these color groups down here in the stats. Okay, so I'm going to do that right now. So again, the winning Powerball numbers were the 24, which is in blue, the 29, which is in blue, the 42 and 44 are both in orange, and the 63 is in green. Okay, so there is no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There are 2 in the blue, the 24, 29. There were 2 in the orange, the 42, 44, and there was 1 in the green, the 63. So if there's a hit, I color the background red for hot, and if there's a miss, I color the background blue for cold, just to give me some separation. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these blue marks are going to come up. Now if I could have correctly guessed that none of these red numbers were going to come up in the last drawing, I could have gotten rid of all these red numbers and gave myself a much better chance at winning some kind of prize in the Powerball lottery. Okay, so if there's a miss, I record that. So I'm going to make this 96, and this means that there's 96 of these blue marks in this column here. Okay, so this 13 means that one of these numbers in this blue area have come up in the last 13 drawings. Okay, so oops. Okay, so I have 15 of these option cards. Okay, so this is option card number 1. And they all have the same colors as red, blue, orange, green. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so the reason why I made them all the same colors is so I could have a group 1 overview. Okay, so this is my group 1 overview over here. I only count the zeros. Okay, so within all 15 option cards in the red areas, there was 3 zeros among all 15 option cards. 3 in the blue area, 3 in the orange, and there was no zeros in the green area at all within all 15 option cards. Okay, so you can see in the last drawing there was 9 zeros altogether. Okay, a couple drawings before you can see it was up to 17. So since this was 3 single digits in a row, I'm expecting a pretty high double digit one here coming up. So I think there's going to be lots of misses among all the color groups. Okay, but I'm especially looking at the red because you can see how long the streak is, and I'm looking at the green as well because a 0 came up in the last one and one right here. So I'm expecting a blue area here and a blue area here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my prediction on what option cards will have that 0 to it. Okay, so the first one I'm going to pick is this option card number 4, no orange numbers. Now I'm picking this because this has gone 20 drawings in a row. Okay, 21 drawings in a row. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And we'll see what happens, but I'm going to get rid of all these orange numbers off of my game card. Okay, so it's all the same pattern of the 17, 18, 65, 26 in all 4 squares. So I'm going to get rid of the 17, the 18, the 25, these four, the 21, 22, 29, 30, the 49, 50, 58, and the 53, 54. So I'm going to get rid of all those numbers, and hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so one thing I want to point out is over here on my game card, I got 5 numbers over here to the left. And as I go back to this group 1, you can see that there's no numbers over here to the left. Okay, so what I really wanted was this grid of 8 squares across and 8 squares down, but that's only good for 64 numbers, and there's 69 in the lottery. So what I decided to do was pair a couple of these squares up. Like the 8 shares the square with the 66, the 19 with the 67, the 25 and the 65, the 53 and the 69, and the 58 and the 68. Okay, so if I get rid of all these orange numbers like I'm doing, I'm going to get rid of the 58 and the 68 along with all these other orange numbers as a group. Okay, so this is my way of grouping up numbers here. Okay, so the next one I'm going to pick is option card 11. No red and green numbers. Okay, so I was especially looking at the red and green groups. Okay, so you can see this red has hit 18 drawings in a row, and over here the green 13 drawings in a row. Okay, now the reason why I'm picking this green one is just a little while ago it hit 21 drawings in a row. Okay, so I'm gonna go with both of these. I don't think any red are gonna come up, and I don't think any green are gonna come up. So I'm gonna start with the red, and it's this circle around both of these squares here. So I'll get rid of the 2, the 3, the 12, the 20, the 9, and 27, and the 48, 56, and 45. So I'll get rid of those. And again, hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to pick this green as well, so you can see that green is this 4 squares plus the middle here. Okay, so I'm going to go to that. So I'll get rid of the 5. The 8 shares the square with the 66, so I'm going to get rid of that. And so I'm going to get rid of the 5, 8, 14, 23, 32, 33, 36, 42, 43, 51. So again, hopefully none of those numbers come up. Okay, so I'm going to pick one more, and this is option card number 14. I'm going to go with no blue numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this differently, but for me, you know, when 2 of these rows come up, and a row means that all 4 colors were represented in the last drawing. Okay, so when 2 of these rows come up, usually there's not a third. Okay, I mean, it certainly can be one, but usually there's not. Okay, so the one that sticks out the most is this blue going 14 drawings in a row. So I'm hoping that 0 is going to be right here. Whoops, sorry about that. Let me go back to 14. I hit home button by mistake instead of the delete. Okay, so again, I'm going to get rid of these blue numbers off of my game card. And the pattern is the 3, 10, 19, 26, all the way down on all 4 squares here. So I'll get rid of the 10, the 19, and that's it. And then over here, I'm going to get rid of the 46. So hopefully those 3 numbers do not come up because I just got rid of them. Okay, so that's my strategy for group 1 here. Okay, so here's my last option card 15. Okay, so again, that's all I'm going to pick out of this group 1. So I'm going to move on to the next strategy, and it's the last strategy, strategy number 5, picking the numbers I hope I'll miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so It looks a lot like group 1, okay? Except with group 1, I divided things into 4 different color groups. Here I divided things into 8 different color groups, okay? So it's just another way of looking at groups of numbers, all right? So except with this one, I know that there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers and there's 8 color groups here. So I know that 3 of these color groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. So the strategy is try to correctly guess what color group will not have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to update this real quick. Okay, so the winning numbers that just came up were the 24, which is in yellow, the 29 in purple, the 63 in gray, and then the 42, which is in blue, and 44 in green. Okay, so I have 8 colors, red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, and I have 15 of these option cards again. So here's option card number 1, and they all have the same colors. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other from each different option card. Okay, so I'm going to update this here. So again, I always like to read things left to right. So there's 1 blue, 1 green, 1 purple, the 29, 1 gray, the 63, and 1 yellow, the 24. So I'm going to come down here to current. So there were no winning Powerball numbers in the red area. There's 1 in that blue, the 42. No winning Powerball numbers in the orange. 1 in the green, the 44. 1 in the purple, the 29. No winning Powerball numbers in the brown area. 1 in the gray, that's 63. And 1 in the yellow, that 24. So I'm going to count how many groups it hit. It hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to put a 5 here. And I'm going to leave this 5 green because the majority of the numbers are over here to the right side. So if the majority of the numbers were over here to the left side, I would be coloring this 5 red. Okay, so now I'm going to make my prediction on where I think a 0 is going to be. Okay, and to help me make a decision, what I did is I broke things down into 5 again. Okay, so up here at the very first one, you can see that out of this 5 drawings here, the majority was misses. 3 zeros here, so I colored the background blue for cold. And then the next 5 down, you can see the majority was hits, so I colored the background red for hot. Okay, so the reason why I do that is because when I see something like this where it's been really hot, well, I know it's going to cool down eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so my prediction here, and I'm going to predict that, my prediction is that no brown numbers are going to come up. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this is because you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue marks in a row here, or single blue marks. So I'm hoping that this is going to double up and have a double blue mark like right here, okay, or even longer. Okay, so another reason why I'm picking this is because I have a group 2 overview. Okay, and my group 2 overview is right here. So in the last drawing, in just the red areas, there was 5 winning Powerball numbers, and there was 5 option cards with winning Powerball number to it, and there was 10 option cards with no winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the majority was misses. So again, I colored the background blue for cold, and here in this green area, you can see that out of the 15 option cards, 9 of the option cards had a winning Powerball number to it in the green area, and 6 did not. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to predict where these blue marks are going to come up. Okay, so for me, I think there's going to be a blue mark here in the red area. I think there's going to be a blue mark here in the brown, and I think there's going to be a blue mark here in this gray. So I'm going to be looking at the red, brown and gray areas first before I look at anything else, okay? So in the last drawing, you can see that there was 62 hits and 58 misses, okay? So there's always plenty of misses, plenty of zeros to choose from, okay? So again, there was, in the last drawing, there was 58 zeros, okay? So a couple of drawings down, you can see that this was even. So what I mean by this is, as I go back to this group 2, is again, I have 15 option cards times 8 options here, okay? So 8 times 15 equals 120. So there's 120 options here, okay? And out of the 120 options, again, in the last drawing, there was 62 of them that came up hits and 58 that came up misses, okay? So as I come back here, I'm going to make my prediction, and again, I'm going to go with brown, okay? So again, the first 3 that I'm going to look at is the red area, the brown area, and the gray area before I look at anything else. So I'm going to choose 0 here in the brown. So that means I'm going to get rid of the 6 down to the 62 off of my game card. So the only one left is the 6, so I'm going to get rid of that. So hopefully that number does not come up. So moving on. Here, as I scroll down here, I decided to go with yellow. So here's the yellow, and as I scroll down, you can see how hot things have been through here. And I'm hoping for a couple of zeros here. Okay, so I did look at the red, the brown, and the gray first, and I like the yellow the best, so I'm going to pick the yellow. And that runs from the 57 to the 64. So the only one left is the 59, so I'll get rid of that. Hopefully that number does not come up. Okay, so moving on to 3, I decided to go with red. So here's the red. You can see how hot things have been here in this red area, and now I'm hoping for a cool down here. So I'm hoping the 0 will be right here, and I'll get rid of these red numbers, and that's the 4 to the 28 and the 37 to the 61. So I'll get rid of the 4. Again, hopefully that number does not come up. So moving on to 4, I've decided to go with gray. So here's the gray. You can see how hot things have been through here. So I'm hoping for a long cool down like this. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'll get rid of these gray numbers, and that runs from the 17 to the 20 and the 69 to the 56. And there's nothing to get rid of here. So I just want to take a second to point something else out here. So again, when I go back to the group 2 overview, you can see how even things are when they come up, okay? I mean, they're pretty even, all right? So actually the average is it's 3.8 to 4.2, okay? So what I'm trying to say here is that on average for all 15 option cards, 4 of these color groups are going to have a hit to it, 4 of these color groups are going to have a miss to it, okay? So it's kind of like a 50-50 guess right now, okay? So if I pick gray like I did, and let's just say for argument's sake that I'm correct, okay? So if I'm correct here with gray, and there's nothing to get rid of, and I come back to this option card 4 again, and I go to the blue area, and I decide to pick from blue. Well, if I got this gray correct already, and I go to pick blue here, the odds go way, way up that I'm probably going to get this one wrong, especially if I got this gray correct already, okay? So I designed this to move on to the next option card where I have that 50-50 guess again, okay? So here, I'm going to go with brown. So you can see that there's 5, 10, 11, 12, 13 drawings in a row where one of these brown numbers have come up. Okay, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So this represents 8 numbers here. Actually 9 because the 8 shares the square with the 66. Okay, so this has come up 13 drawings in a row, and it only represents 9 numbers. And there's 60 other numbers that can come up. Okay, so I don't think this streak is going to last too much longer. Okay, so I'm hoping that it's going to end right here. So I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers off of my game card. And I already did that with in group 1. Okay, so there's no numbers to get rid of here. So moving on to option card number 6. Again, I have 15 of these option cards, so I'm almost done. And I'm going to go with brown again. So here's the brown, and as I scroll down, you can see that things got pretty hot through here. And here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drawings in a row, so I'm hoping that the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these brown numbers. So it's run from the 8, 15, 24, 31 all the way down. So I'll get rid of the 24, 31, 47. So hopefully those numbers do not come up. So moving on to option card number 7. I decided to go with gray, so here's the gray. You can see that things got pretty hot through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers, which is the 9, 2, 11, 4 all the way across. So I'll get rid of the 11, 13. Hopefully those numbers do not come up. Okay, so moving on to number 8. I decided to go with gray again, so here's the gray. You can see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here, and I'm going to get rid of these gray numbers. And that's the 3, 10, 19, 26 all the way down. And there's nothing to get rid of. So moving on to 9. 9, I couldn't make a decision. Okay, so as I look at this, I thought about taking red, but you know, it's all about a gut feeling. And I just didn't have a gut feeling for 9, so I'm going to leave this one alone. And I'm going to move on to number 10, where I picked brown. Okay, so you can see that things were pretty hot through here. Now I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here, so I'm going to get rid of the brown numbers. And that's the same pattern of 11, 26 in all 4 squares. And you can see there's nothing to get rid of, so I'm going to move on to the next one, which is 11, and I'm going to go with red. So as I scroll down, you're going to see that this red got really, really hot down through here. So I'm hoping that the 0 is going to come up right here. And that's the 6, 14, 17, 65, 35, 43, 56, 64. And there's nothing to get rid of. So I'm moving on to 12, where I decided to go with blue. So here's the blue, and as I scroll down, you're going to see that things got pretty hot through here. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So it's the 66 crescent moon to the 32 and the 36 to the 60. There's nothing to get rid of. So moving on to 13, I decided to go with gray. So here's the gray. Now you can see how hot things have been through here. So we got 5, 9, 10, 11 drawings in a row. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. And it's a crescent moon from the 5 to the 66 and the 33 to the 36. Nothing to get rid of. Okay, so 14. I decided to go with purple here. So here's the purple, and as I scroll down, you see things got pretty hot through here, so I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. So here's these purple numbers. Nothing to get rid of. Okay, so moving on to 15. I decided to go with gray, so here's the gray. You can see how hot things have been through here. We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drawings in a row. So I'm hoping the 0 is going to be right here. and the gray runs from the 66 over to the 57, and there's nothing to get rid of. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is make a decision on what number will not be coming up here. Okay, so my decision is going to get rid of one of these 40 numbers. Okay, so as I go back to the individual numbers here, you can see that here's a 3, which means 3 groups came up, got hit. Okay, now a 5 has gone through a drought a little bit. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that a 5 is going to come up, so I want 5 of these groups to be represented. Okay, so I can't have two 40s. Okay, if these two 40 numbers come up, then it's going to be a 4. 4 groups will be represented. So I'm going to get rid of one of these 40 numbers. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I want more even numbers. Okay, I definitely want more to the left, more to the blue. Obviously, I think it's going to go high here and not low, so I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the 44, just because the red has been really hot in the last couple of drawings. So I'm going to get rid of the 44, and the numbers I'm going to go with are the 1, the 16, the 34, the 41, and the 52. Okay, so the 16, 34, 52 will give me that evens. Okay, more evens than odds. More to the left, the 1, 34, 41, 52 will make that happen, and more to that blue area, the 16, 34, 41, 52 will make that happen. Okay, so more than half the time a 3-color combination comes up. So I got 2 blue, 2 purple, and a green. Okay, so those are the numbers that I'm going to go with. So I'm just going to highlight these, and again I'm going to go with the 1, 16, 34, 41, 52. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Alright, so I think Sherlock Holmes said it the best when he said it's a matter of deduction. So if these blocked out numbers don't come up, then these highlighted numbers have to come up. Okay, so what are the odds that I made all the correct picks? Okay, let me go over the official odds. The official odds to get all 5 white balls correct and the red ball, the grand prize, is 1 in 292 million that you're going to get it correct. Okay, and the grand prize is up to 150 million. Oh, this is taking too long. So it's up to 150 million. Okay, so my goal is to get 5 white balls correct to 5 white balls, and the odds of that are 1 in 11,688,000. Okay, so in other words, you can make nearly 12 million 5-number combinations out of 69 numbers. Okay, so I don't want to give any kind of illusions that this is going to be easy to win. Okay, so here a great prize to win would be 4 white balls and a red ball. That pays 50,000 plus the power play, and the odds are just about 1 in a million. Okay, so you can see that the odds are pretty astronomical. Okay, and of course that's why it pays so well. All right, but I just want to give you some perspective that if you spend $3 per drawing, there's 2 drawings per week, you would spend $312 per year on the lottery. Okay, so moving on, I do have something for the Powerball number itself. Okay, so if you get that one correct, it pays $4 plus the power play. So there's 26 red numbers in the Powerball lottery. So over here in this column, I just divided the numbers in 2. So if you see a blue number, that's 1 to 13, low 1 to 13. And if you see a red number, that's high 14 to 26. So over here in this column, if you see a red number, that's odds. If you see a blue number, that's evens. Okay, so the reason why I do the colors here is because when I see something like this where it's been blue for a pretty long streak, well, I know it's going to turn red eventually. I just have to correctly guess when that's going to happen. Okay, so for here, you can see that there's been a couple of blue marks in a row. So single blue marks, I mean. So I'm going to predict that this is going to double up on the blue. So I think it's going to be a low number. And over here, I think it's going to turn back to red. So I think it's going to be a low odd number. So I'm just going to concentrate on the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Just those numbers only. Okay? And we'll see what happens. Okay? So in closing, I want to thank you for watching. If you would like to support my channel, then please go to my Patreon page at www.patreon.com/Decoding the Powerball. And as always, I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.